Hi guys, so I'm going to start off with a Goddess Within Oracle. And funny story is I was like, I always do, the whole shamanism thing. I'm going to start with something different. So I did the Goddess Within. And what do I get is Pachamama. What's Pachamama, she does come from the Incas, which were more like a society during the 1400s and 1500s. But still, at that time, they were very much, with the understanding of what shamanism is, and they were still practicing things. With their culture, they had a deep understanding of the connection with Earth. In fact, Pachamama is the embodiment of the Mother Earth. So she's kind of like Gaia. And her first inscription in here says, "Forgive yourself and others. The process is not instant. Take one step at a time along the winding path of forgiveness." Now, I'm not quite sure why this is here, because the rest of the message kind of means something different to me. But at the same time, I was also thinking of back in 2019, there was a story of where Pope Francis did a ceremony. I'm not 100% sure what it was about, but it was in the Amazon, and they did have statues of Pachamama. And it upset a bunch of people, and so, in the Catholic community, so they threw statues, and, they said it was idol worship, and anyways, long story short, later on he comes out and he says we need to respect other people's, beliefs and other people's cultures, and I think that's beautiful. So I don't know, in a way, he was kind of looking for forgiveness for all of this, the way that we kind of encroach our beliefs and our way of doing things on other people. And I think a lot of times we don't realize that we kind of do that in a way too. But anyway, so that's a small message or whatever. And then also it talks about really going in your, allowing your emotions to come out, because sometimes when we think of forgiveness, it's almost like we're so upset about it that we don't want to do it. We almost feel like it's kind of like a disservice that we do to ourselves. When, if you think about it, in order to forgive, and remember, forgiving doesn't mean that you have to say that what somebody else did or a situation was okay and that you have to invite that again. What you're saying is you're releasing them and you from that energy. And so much about a lot of earth-based energy work is a lot about that. It's going through the motions and really understanding and feeling those emotions and then releasing them, kind of like soul retrieval. Sometimes it's kind of like a belief that we lose parts of ourselves through different types of trauma and different types of things that we repress or we forget about. And then so there's this kind of protector part of ourselves that kind of especially in childhood trauma, there's somebody that that part of us that kind of protects all the other stuff from coming in, and that's kind of what creates our shadows, you know what I mean? So really taking that effort and not dismissing our feelings and dismissing our uncomfortable feelings, but feeling those uncomfortable feelings so you can move on. And you really need to do that to forgive. And sometimes you can just forgive the person, and whether that's internally or go through the act of forgiveness, and it doesn't have to happen immediately, but that begins the process of recapturing parts of yourself that are lost, and allowing yourself to feel like those things are valid, right? And then releasing that energy that you're kind of giving away, right? And I also feel like this is really kind of telling us again to really, we're at a time where I feel like the Mother Earth is really talking to us right now. I feel like spirituality and nature are really kind of hey, been here the whole time, pay attention, appreciate me, that type of thing. So I feel like that's another thing. And then I also got an Herbal Astrology Oracle, and lo and behold, it just happens to be Cordyceps again. I love this card. And it talks about, with the planets that is ruling at, I should say heavenly bodies, because it's not always a planet. But, and you have Jupiter, Pluto, and Mars. So that's completely expansion after rebirth, right? It's so much this is a rebirth card, in the ultimate positive way that it could be, I feel. You're breaking down those parts of yourself that are allowing you to stay back where you and not allowing you to get to where you want to be, and you're fully embracing it. That's what this card means to me. And like, the keywords here too, like energy, renewal, soaring to new heights, opportunity, activation, and resurrection. So you're resurrecting yourself. You're bringing yourself back to where you were. And yeah, feeling those emotions. So emotions in Latin, that's where it comes from. The origin of the word emotions in Latin means to move out, or it's actually out moved, like if you pieced it together that way. But a lot of what we think of in English is kind of switched around. But it means to move through, move out, move those feelings through and work with them. And you're not moving them out to flush them out. You're moving them out to feel them and regain those pieces of yourself. And it's so important to do that for like the grieving process of having hurtful emotions, to go through that. And then I pulled 2 mystical shaman oracles. Well, I was only going to pull 1, but 2 came out, and I thought it was awesome because it was the child, and earth, which makes me feel like it's right underneath Pachamama. I feel like this is really telling us that we need to recapture that awe and fascination with earth. I think this is really what a big part of this is. I think the earth she's reaching out to us and wanting to nurture us and give us love and say, hey, I'm here, right? She's reaching out, and she's done with us trying to do it all by ourselves. She wants us to feel confident in ourselves that we have her, right? Anyway, so the essence of the child is, the child knows the way to joy and happiness. The child offers a return of a second innocence, a time born of wisdom, not of naivete. I hope I said that right. This card allows you to correct your course and offer you a second chance, and brings you the possibility of redemption and entering heaven while on earth. And I feel like that's what we're doing right now. And the invitation says the child is here to release you from the habit of being yourself and to help you acquire a beginner's mind so that you can see life as it is, as if for a first time. Remain open to learning and discovery. Who is your spouse or partner today? Can you see them with fresh eyes? Who is looking back at you in the mirror this morning? Become a mystery unto yourself and reconnect with a sense of childlike wonder. And that goes back to like the whole, not holding on to regret and resentment. I feel like this is such an opportunity to release all that stuff. We hold on to all these little pieces, or we block all those pieces, we repress all those soul shards that we release throughout our lives because we're in survival mode. It's crazy. And then we have earth, and the essence is earth represents the gift of life. The symbol on this card refers to the body of the planet Earth, a human body, and nature herself. We're reminded by this symbol that all creatures are born of earth, and human beings are the stewards of all life on this planet. It refers to what we make of it: our health, our wealth, our security, grounding, solidarity, and stability. It reminds us that the world of forms is a gift from spirit and needs to be treated with respect. When the earth symbol appears, it represents a need to focus on reverence and appreciation for natural gifts that are coming to you now and always. The concrete world you inhabit is there by grace of spirit, and you are part of it. Much can be accomplished now when you focus on compassionate, reverent service to the world. If you act with integrity, gratitude, and humility, you will find yourself more prosperous than you can imagine. Success is assured when earth appears as an invitation. And again, I feel like this is really talking about, connecting and understanding the, the power in feeling safe and held by the earth, right? Not denying any feelings that we might have, but not wallowing in them. Being appreciative of what we have and looking at the little things around us and what they can mean for us. I think that's a big thing. And so then we go to tarot, and then I have the 4 of Wands and I have the 3 of Wands. So to me, this feels like, with the 4 of Wands, that's a lot of times it's celebration. It's close connections. That's the 1111 card. And then when you have the 3 of Wands, the 3 of Wands it's really about motivation and ambition and having like a excitedness about the world, right? So I feel like with these two cards, I feel like whatever this energy is, whether it's somebody or a feeling that you're having or something about it, like a project, a relationship, whatever it is in your life, or whether this is collectively, I feel like this is definitely, I don't know who Stephanie is, but maybe there's a Stephanie and a Destiny. Anyway, but so I feel like with that, I feel like it's a huge emphasis on, capturing that excitedness again, like it says in the child card, with that innocence and that wonder and that excitedness about the future. And I feel like that's what this is telling us that we're kind of in, whether you know it or not. So if you don't feel that way, maybe this is telling you need to feel that way. But I feel like this is expansion in your creativity and emotional part of your life, and the way that we connect with it and resonate with it. And also, so the 4 and the 3 make a 7. And if you look over there, there's a lot of 7s over there in those two Shaman oracles. So I feel like 7 might be a number for somebody. I don't know. Also 11 with the 4 of Wands card. And then we go to the second column, which is what we need to work on. So we have the 8 of Cups. Now, a lot of times the 8 of Cups, people will say, that's walking away from what doesn't serve you. And it is, but really what it is you've kind of outgrown that. It's not so much like, you need to leave that person. Obviously, if somebody's treating you like crap and you're not being treated well, get yourself out of there. Or a situation, if you don't feel it where you're at and you feel like that's draining your energy, yes. But it's also about you've kind of gotten to a certain point in your life. You've either, you're ready for more, right? So if you look over with those cups, if you look over in the mountains, and Pachamama also is a lot of times represented by mountains as well. If you look over there, there's so much opportunity and light over there. So it's not that he doesn't appreciate the little crow there. He or she doesn't appreciate the 8 cups that he has, but he just knows that over there's more, right? And he can bring the knowledge and the wisdom and the respect of the 8 cups and bring it with him to his next adventure. And so with the 5 of Swords down there, a lot of times people think the 5 of Swords is conflict, and sometimes it can be, but I feel like with this, it's about taking a risk and strategy, because sometimes the 5 of Swords can be that. It's, it's a risky situation, but sometimes it takes a little bit of that to get to where we want, right? And I feel like, I don't know if this is like a business venture or a creative thing, or even if it's your journey you're on. I think it's like, really telling us to like tap into that excited and, natural self again, that childlike self, and experience and go on and do what it is that we really want our heart to do. And in the third column, we have, again, the 3 of Wands. So I think that's really telling somebody that this is like, we're expanding, and whatever we're doing right now, there's a lot of creativity and expansion and promise to it. There's a lot of potential. And we have the Page of Cups underneath. And the Page of Cups, a lot of times, that could also be getting like some type of like, knowledge or excitement or creativity, in a message. But I feel like it's also could be like that, again, that childlike wonder, and because the cups are emotion and spirituality. So I feel like this is saying, again, tap into that childlike wonder and really expand with that. Let that push you into that. So, because this column is always like what we have around us. So I feel like saying that this is like something that we have that ability, we have the understanding of what that feels like. And with the 3 of Wands, we have the ability to see the bigger picture in an expansive and exciting way. And then we have the last column, which we have the Chariot, and we have the Queen of Wands. So, as our kind of outcome and what we're kind of looking for, I feel like this is also saying that, sometimes the Chariot can be a very driven path, right? You're on a very driven course, but it can also be with all the duality symbolism in like the Rider-Waite card. A lot of times it can be, you're on a pretty balanced path, right? But the force of the Chariot sometimes is a little bit, out there. But with the Queen of Wands, she's kind of like one of those people that's very like, laid back about things. She's passionate and she's go, 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 but it's not in like a haphazard way. It's more of like a very confident and carefree way. Because a lot of times, if you see the seriousness in the Chariot, when you look at the Rider-Waite card, or even here, like the drive and the seriousness, I think she's kind of telling you to lighten up a little bit, because the Queen of Wands is somebody that will tell you, dude, lighten up. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's kind of where we're going. I feel like this is a path where I think for so long, maybe things in the past have kind of brought you down, or collectively have brought us down and made us feel like that there wasn't a path ahead, or that the path ahead was not worth it, right? We're told that, oh, you have to suffer in order to get anywhere, and then the only time you get your reward is when you're dead and you've worked your whole time of your life to earn it, right? But no, it's what this is now. It's living here now. It's on earth. It is heaven on earth. And I just think that's beautiful. So I hope this helps somebody today, and, drive passionately forward and have fun while you're doing it. Have that beginner mindset. Feel like a kid again and get excited about where you're going. Don't let your past grief and regrets hold you back. Forgive yourself and forgive others for them, and move on. Pachamama's got your back.